From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Cairns. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief creator of Amazing Ideas and Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's podcast, I sit down with Michael Short of GoWP, and we talk about outsourcing and why you should outsource for your business and your agency. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation that Michael and I had. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. Today I'm here with Michael Short of GoWP. How are you today, Michael?
I'm great. Thanks, Robert.
No, it's great to have you. So I thought today we jump on and talk a little bit about why you should do outsourcing for your agency, which is something you specialize in. But before we get to that, do you want to tell us a little bit about your background, please?
Sure, absolutely. No problem. So, again, my name is Michael Short. I work at GoWP. I'm a senior account manager there. I've owned and still own and manage a digital agency for the last 22 plus years. And in that process, I've not only served our clients in multiple ways, trying multiple things, doing outsourcing, whether it's outsourcing copywriters and designers and developers. I've had my fair share of experience there. And then I met Brad, the owner of GoWP, I actually met him just before Cabo Press about 2 years ago. But we got to connect more at Cabo Press itself. And I never thought in a million years in meeting him and talking to him and getting to enjoy his company that I would ever work for him, because obviously I had my own agency. One of the other things I've done through that agency is I've created plugins for websites as a service, WAS. It's called WAS Pro. And so that was my reason for being there at Cabo Press, is to just kind of learn and explore how I can grow that part of my business. And anyway, so Brad and I connected, and I never thought, like I said, like that would ever work for him. And then my family and I decided that we were going to take a journey about a little over a year ago, in our RV and travel the United States and explore everywhere. And so just before going on that journey, or as we were preparing for it, I noticed that Brad posted in his Facebook group, the GoWP group, that digital agency owners group, is that he was looking for someone that had my qualifications. And I felt like I was reading my resume. So I just jokingly said, when do I start? And that kind of led to where we are today. I ended up getting hired. And so it's been amazing. It's been a wonderful ride in both my journey on the RV, but also, more importantly, my journey with GoWP.
Yeah, it has been, and the journey from the RV is something that I think many people would like to do, and they just never kind of pull the plug on that type of a journey. So I think it's great you're doing that. Actually, it's really cool. Talking to you and following you and saying, "Oh, where's Michael today?" kind of deal. It's really
Yeah,
interesting.
it's an amazing experience. We've been keeping record of it on our Instagram channel. We have one called Blame It on Whiskey, if you want to look at it. But, we are recording our travels just so that family friends back at home, or what's once home in California, Southern California, would know and be able to keep up with what we're doing. And that gets also posted to my Facebook group. Or sorry, not group, but Facebook profile as well. But yeah, it's been awesome. I'm able to see more things in the last year than probably my entire life prior. So it's been pretty awesome, pretty epic.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, when people travel, they tend to say, if you're in the US, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the Caribbean, you're going to go to Europe. And they never take the time to see the US. It's the same thing in
Hmm.
Canada, where I am. People travel, and I've been all over this country over the years, and most people never. They always say, "You're Canadian. Where are you going to go?" "I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to go to California. I'll go to Caribbean. I'll go to Europe." And they don't get
Hmm.
to know their own country, and that's quite an interesting experience, to say the least. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's sad that, I guess it's just everything else, because you read or see it on TV or whatever, that they looks more enticing. But I don't know. The United States is an amazing place. It's so many great people and great things to see. I would like to get up to Canada. Obviously, COVID and restrictions there have prevented me from going that direction. So when I hear that I can go up there and it's not cold and snowing, then I will probably make my way that direction. That'd be awesome to
Yeah,
see too.
you're always welcome. So let's jump into the world of outsourcing, and that's one of the things GoWP specializes in. So the first question I'm going to ask is, if you want to scale your business, as far as I'm concerned, you have to do one of two things: you got to hire staff, or you got to outsource. Why outsourcing over hiring?
Yeah, before I even answer that question, I would say, there's I don't know if you heard of the guy named Robert Kiyosaki who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I
And
have.
you have, and one of his statements, and I'm not sure if he coined it or not, but basically he said there's two ways to make money: other people's time or other people's money. So, in other words, you can leverage off of other people's by investing in something and borrowing money, or you can leverage off of other people's time and just mark up their time so that you can, because we're limited on our time as an individual. We only have so many hours in every day, and a lot of those times we have to be sleeping to just get rest. So yeah, we're going to be a bottleneck at some point. And so the best way to scale is going to be leveraging other people's time and building a team in a way that is productive and efficient so that, you're able to make money. And so to answer your question, the question being is that what's, what would, why outsourcing instead of hiring in-house? And I would say there's a lot of reasons for that, but for me, one of the ones that stick out is when you hire in-house, you have a lot of tax implications that come with that. If you're having someone on staff and coming in, or they act as an employee, you're going to have to pay taxes in ways that you won't have to when you outsource. um, Outsourcing is great too, because with when you hire someone in-house, you're more responsible, I would say, for that person's livelihood. Like you feel more obligated to make sure that they're taken care of. And even in downtimes, you want to make sure that they're taken care of. Whereas when you're outsourcing, it's a service. And so just like any other service, you can cancel and restart whenever you need to. And that's, I think, another reason or another benefit. Also, a really big benefit that I found personally, because I also use GoWP dedicated services in my own agency. And what I found is that the quality of talent that you get with outsourcing, you don't have to pay the rates that you would have to pay if you were to hire them in-house. So in other words, or even outsourcing outside of a company like GoWP, where if you were to just bring on someone for, let's say, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, so 40 hours a month, that you would they may agree to work with you under those conditions. However, if another company were to come in and have their other 6 hours and provide them with more stability and say, I need you full 8 hours, it's very likely that they can say, hey, look, Michael, I just can't work for you anymore. I got this other opportunity. Whereas at WP, the other two, the other 6 hours from the 2 hours that I would get, they're being serviced to other clients of ours. And that way, like, they're still getting that security from GoWP without me having to pay front the bill on it. So it's an amazing thing, because now I have the security of knowing that the outsource partner is going to be able to work with me for long term and not worry about them getting poached or going somewhere else.
Yeah, and when we think about outsourcing, the two things in our business, when I say our business, the agency business that come to mind right away is virtual assistants, VAs, and um, outsourcing some of your development. What other tasks are really good for agencies to look at to outsource?
Yeah, so at GoWP, we offer designers, developers, copywriters, project managers, and we are looking at also adding account managers, someone that can answer the phone and take calls for you. So these are all things that we're looking at, ways that we can truly help agencies scale and grow their business in ways that maybe they haven't even thought of, in terms of the type of people that could be useful in their business. So yeah, there's a lot of ways. VAs is one of those. Personally, I've tried hiring VAs in the past, and I actually have a couple now on well, I actually have one VA on my team, and then another SDR, just sales rep. Yeah, there's a different ways. There's BDRs, SDRs, basically business development reps or sales development reps, people that will take on phone calls and then transfer those calls to a proper sales rep. A BDR would be one that actually take the call and close the deals, and the SDR would just do the reach outs. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of ways you can grow and scale your business, different roles that you can put into play.
Does GoWP offer anything on the business side? For example, an accountant comes to mind, or have you stayed away from that side of it at this point?
We're pretty soon going to say you can outsource everything at GoWP, but no, that's not something that's on the table that I'm aware of yet. We haven't gotten to the accounting side of things. However, now that you mentioned that, there is a webinar coming out regarding taxes this week. I don't know when you're going to air this, but yeah, that's, you can always go look at our previous webinars and I'm sure you'll find it. So we are trying to be as useful and helpful to our community as possible in all areas and aspects of growing your agency and running your agency. So
Yeah.
it's not unlikely that that could be a possibility in the future.
Now, the problem with outsourcing is, and I kind of want to have a little bit about this discussion. I know at GoWP you vet the people that you employ for outsourcing very carefully.
Mhm.
I think outsourcing gets a bad name because we all think about the people in India or in Pakistan and that part of the world, and not everybody's bad over there. So don't get me wrong, but I know in having spent many, many years in the IT industry and even dealing with telecom companies, I kind of cringe every time I have to make a call to somebody and I know I'm getting an India call center or I'm getting a Pakistan call center or something like that. What is your feeling about hiring people working overseas and how do you handle that?
Yeah, so the majority of our majority of our outsourced services that we provide are global, and so ironically enough, we don't have anyone in India or Pakistan. I don't. It's not because we have anything against those areas. It's just we haven't found anybody that meets our requirements and passed our vetting process that from that region. But that's not to say that there's anything wrong with them. We have a lot in Philippines. We have some in let's see, we have some Poland and Africa and just basically all over the world. I don't even want to. We have Spain and just trying to
Yeah.
think of them as they come to mind. But it's one of the very first things that we definitely vet for is their ability to speak and understand English. And that's very, very important to us. So they need to be able to communicate well with English because they're going to be client facing. They'll be working with our clients, and that's I think everyone's first and foremost concern. Then after that, then we start getting into as long as they pass that, then we get into the vetting process of like their actual skill sets and so forth. After we even do that, and then they pass all the skill set tests, then we go into a meeting and make sure that they can articulate words well in conversation. So we have a Zoom call meeting with them and make sure that they're able to speak English well there as well. And yeah, that is one of our like most highest concerns is their ability to, especially with I mean, with all services, but even more importantly with our copywriters. So if you were to read any of our copywriters, what they write, you would just assume they were from the U.S. or an English speaking, like a native English speaker.
Yeah. And that vetting process, I recall from a webinar I watched recently that you were one of the speakers on, that you actually have them work internally at GoWP before you turn them out into the wild, so to speak.
Yes, we do. That's part of our vetting process. So let's say, for example, a copywriter, we will have them work on our own blogs, and we treat it 100% as if GoWP was the first client, and we are our own first client. And so we go through kickoff call, every part of our process that we would have with an actual agency client, we do internally, and just so that they can get their feet grounded and understand how the process works and make sure that they understand what the expectations are coming from us and what our clients would most likely expect them to do as well. So that's worked well for us.
And how does it work on the outsourcing side in terms of project management? And the reason I ask this question is every agency has their favorite project management tools. I do, you do. I'm sure they're different. Or the same, or some in the middle. Do you basically say to the people that hire your outsourced staff that they have to work in your project management system, or do you say they have to work in the agency's project management system? How do you set that up?
I guess I never thought of it that we would say that they have to work in the agency project management system, but I guess that is the truth. We don't have one internally, so we recommend and they would have to work inside whatever. platform that the agency has. So if they're using Asana, ClickUp, Basecamp, any of those things, we recommend. We can make recommendations if they don't already have that, but most agencies that we talk with already have something in place. And those that don't, I do strategy calls all the time, and I can help them through my experience get set up with the tools that are going to be best for them.
Yeah. And I think that's the key. And I always say to people, people come to me all the time in businesses and stuff, and I have a project management background, and people will say to me, which project management tool should I use? And my answer usually, Michael, is the one that works the best for you. And
Yeah,
so I'm not a big fan of, the problem in the WAS world or the SaaS world is we all jump around tools like we brush our teeth in the morning, some of us. People spend more time looking at tools than they actually do in doing the work. And I think that's a big mistake, honestly. I think
yeah.
workflow is everything.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's hard though because I know a lot of us come from a background of being on a team of one or a team of two or just a few people where a
Yeah.
project management tool in my opinion becomes really helpful is when you start to grow and scale your company. So you have to in the beginning act as if because you want to have those processes and workflows in place for when the time comes you do add people to your team. It'll make that transition a lot smoother. But it is difficult when you're a team of one and to stop what you're doing and put it in a tool because you already know what needs to be done. Um, it is a little challenging, but it's important. I would recommend highly that you pick a tool. We in my agency we've gone through several. We've landed on Plutio is the one that we chose to use. We were using
Yeah.
ClickUp, and then just for cost reasons, I had an AppSumo deal, so I decided to just give it a go, and it's worked out well.
Yeah,
It's really good.
and it's funny you mentioned ClickUp because I landed on ClickUp after using a multitude of tools, and I'm at the point where I can't see myself switching. It's just the cost and the time to switch is not worth it. It comes back to that, right? So you just kind of
100%. Yes.
and I think it's funny because I think a lot of agencies, especially when you go from a team of one and people try and scale and then they go to outsourcing. And I think the one thing a lot of single or two people agencies need to do is get their processes and procedures down when they're working on their own. So then if they ever have to scale, it's all there and ready to go. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to do. It's hard to make yourself sit down and put those processes in place. For the longest time in my agency, it was a team of two, me and one other, and Moses is his name, and he's been with me for pretty much the start of my agency, like maybe a year or so after. But yeah, he's become my project manager, and he's good at doing those sort of things. I'm not, but even when I have to do it, it's an important thing. You need to sit down and do it. I make my entire team write down their processes now so that the next guy or someone else can come in and do whatever task that they need to accomplish by looking at those processes. With technology today, like Zoom. I mean, it's not Zoom, Loom videos and things like that. It works really well. I know there's something called, I think it's called Tangerine or something like that that we've used, and where basically it just screen records as you're going through your process. You can
Yeah.
just click. There's just tools out there that make recording your processes much quicker and efficient, and so it doesn't have to feel like you're pulling teeth or spending a lot of time doing it. But it is important to do.
No, I agree with you, and I think it's a great way, even if for an agency and a team of one or a team of two, and then moving forward and growing, it's a great way to find out where the holes are, what you're not doing right, what you're not doing wrong, and and then going from there. If
Yeah.
you were recommending to an agency that's looking at outsourcing, and I know this is a general question, what do you think is the first thing they should look at? A designer, a copy editor? Do you have any thoughts there, or is it all kind of it depends?
Yeah, so GoWP, one of the things that we recommend you do, we have a sheet for this where you write down all your tasks that you need to get done on a regular basis. And then you separate those tasks based off the type of roles that would be responsible. So, like these tasks are like more of a sales role, these tasks are more of a project manager role, and so forth. Separate those things, then write on a scale of 1 to 10, which of those tasks like bring you happiness. We have 5 different things that you want to scale it on. And then from there, like, actually, I'll just let me see if I can pull that up real quick, what that looks like. If my computer gets me there fast enough. I'm almost there. I just kind of give you a
Modern technology, Michael. Modern technology.
yes, indeed. So the things that we look at are, is it something that you're skilled at? Is it something that brings you happiness? Is it profitable? Is it scalable? And then does it take up a lot of your time? You want to grade those from 1 to 10, 10 being the best and one being the least. And then the things that are scored high determines what the things that you keep and which things that you start to outsource. So everyone's going to have a different score and different reality, but I think it's important to just consider all the things that you have to do in a day, and then that will help you determine what you need to outsource. Um, like for example, I know like if you're a developer, then that's something you're really good at. It's a probably good practice to outsource everything but development so that you can focus on what you're good at.
Yep.
However, I say that, and there's this other side to that token because I think for me, that's impeded me from growing in as much as I think I could have over the years. In that, when I have things that I know I can do, then my list gets long and I become the bottleneck and I don't scale. If I, I was able to build and grow my plugin business because I have no business building plugins myself. And so I was able to hand those things off to a team and they're able to get those things done. If it was something I was capable of doing myself, I think most of those plugins would still be sitting on my whiteboard needing to get done. So by leaving the things that you're good at may also impede you. So you got to kind of look at it from both angles and determine what works best for you.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I've always had the philosophy kind of if you don't like doing stuff, get somebody to do it for you. If you're not good at doing stuff, get somebody to do it for you and kind of concentrate on the tasks that make you money. And that's always been my philosophy. So I know, for example, and I know GoWP doesn't do this, but I hate doing my own books. Believe me, I have an accountant that I hand it to every month, and I say, "Do my books for me."
Yes.
I just that's the classic example. And then there's stuff that you don't want to get into, like people are trying to. I think they make the mistake of DIYing stuff, do it yourself too much, and not realizing every time you DIY something, it actually costs your business time, which actually
Mhm.
costs you money because what is your time worth back to your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And it's kind of, and people don't realize that, at the end of the day, it's like looking at. I tell my clients this all the time. They look at me and say, "I'm going to do my own website," and I kind of look at them and say, "Okay, really?" So, so that means you've got 40 hours that you're going to throw away from your core business. And they kind of say, well, I don't have that time. I said, but that's what you just committed to. So I think
Mhm.
agencies need to look, and I don't think agency owners, honestly, are the best at always letting go of stuff. And that's why I don't think they run outsourcing, is because they don't like to let go of the little things, not realizing it would benefit them in the long run.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I remember having a conversation with Brad when we were at Cobble Press about, at the time, again, I never thought I'd work for him, but I was aware of what GoWP offered in terms of the maintenance and content edit plans. And even at that time, I remember thinking to myself, like, that's something I can just do on our own. I don't want to let go of the financial, gain that I'm getting from these clients. I don't want to lose my margin and
Yeah.
now having worked at GoWP and seeing the other side of it and having now putting my clients all on maintenance plans, it just relieves me from doing the mundane things that I shouldn't be doing in the first place and allowing me to focus on the things that I should. If I'm concerned about my profit margin, then I just increase my rates. I mean, just you have to instill the value to your clients, why it's important for them to have these things and have a nice concise way of explaining that to them. But after that, it gives you like it takes a big weight off my shoulders on knowing that something like maintenance is being handled in the background and I don't even have to worry about it or touch it at all ever.
And it's funny we talk about maintenance plans, and I've got over 100 clients on maintenance plans, and I don't do any of them anymore. I just I just kind of run the ship, and I've offloaded the whole mess, and it hasn't hurt my profit margin in one bit. to be honest. It's actually increased it because I don't have to deal with it. And I'm not the
Yeah.
bottleneck at that point. And
And you
that's
don't cringe. You probably don't cringe when you go get new accounts and want to put them on a maintenance plan thinking, man, that's one more thing I'm putting on my plate. Now you know that this is easy. I'll make whatever margin it is you're going to make, small or big, whatever that is. But you know, it's not something that you have to worry about yourself. And that is relieving. You know, it just makes so much more sense to just let someone else handle those sort of tasks than for you to do it yourself.
actually, in my case, Michael, it actually makes my life more stress free either. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about if something breaks. I don't have to worry about dealing with it. I just kind of let it run its show and and run the project side of it. And for me, that's much easier than actually doing it. So that's a big deal. It lets me do the things I want to do, and
Yeah.
that's really important. So,
Yeah.
if somebody is looking at outsourcing, do you have any good resources up at GoWP that can kind of look at, or besides reaching out to you?
Yeah. And on our website, gowp.com. And anytime you can reach out to me and Mike at gowp.com. Pretty easy to remember. But yeah, our website pretty much lists everything that we do really well. And anything you might have questions on, or even more importantly, like how you think it might fit into your business, what might be the best way to get started. All those things we can always jump on a quick call with no obligation. Just I love having these conversations with people. It's I never put pressure anyone to start do something that they're not ready for. It's more or less just let's talk about it. Let's see what your options are. That way, when you are ready, you'll kind of have a better understanding or idea of what to prepare for. That's what I would recommend to do.
Yeah, and the other thing I would suggest too is if somebody's really interested, go to the GoWP website, sign up for one of the many webinars they do. They do them every week, usually Tuesday on the week, and get a feel for what Michael does and get a feel for what his team does because they're all pretty approachable. Those webinars are good. I've taken in several in the last while just to kind of keep my head in that game and spend the time learning because
Yeah,
that's the only way you're going to get any better, right, Michael?
absolutely. And in addition, I would say to add to that, to the webinars, is you can also join us on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, we have Digital Agency Owners Group. And
Yeah.
there we have every Friday, we have a happiness hour. And then every other Tuesday, we just started doing a office hours. So where you can join me and somebody, we'll usually have a guest that you can just ask questions to and see how you might be able to grow and scale your business using outsourced services.
Yeah, a recent one I just took in was one with you with Adrian Toby, who,
Mhm.
strange enough, I know very well, Michael. I actually did at one time I did some training courses from his father's agency, so I know his dad quite well too.
Awesome.
And that was a really good episode where you guys talked about some options that Adrian was using for outsourcing. So when you see what other business owners are doing, it helps the creative juices flow and helps you kind of help forge your path when you get some help like that. So
Absolutely. Adrian's a great guy, and he's using our copywriters writing services, one of our dedicated copywriters, and it was great to have him on the show and just learn how he's utilizing her services and being able to grow and scale his product-based business. So it's not just for agencies, but if you have product or anything like that, you can benefit from either a developer or copywriter or designer. We have a really great team, and they're doing really great things.
thanks for joining me, Michael. If somebody wants to reach out to you by email, do you mind sharing your email address?
Yeah, my email again is mike@gowp.com. Also, if you want to set up a strategy call with me, it's free, no obligations, like I mentioned. It's gowp.com/grow. And, or is it growth? I think it's either, if it grow doesn't work, then go /growth. Either way, I will be able to jump on a call with you and we can sort out how we can help you scale and grow your business, whether you use us or not.
Thanks, Michael. Have an amazing day.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Take care.
My pleasure. Bye bye. A very special thank you to Michael for joining me on today's podcast. Be sure to check out GoWP for more information on how you can outsource your agency. Thank you for listening to this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is brought to you by Rob Cairns and Stunning Digital Marketing. For more information about Rob Cairns and Stunning Digital Marketing, go to stunningdigitalmarketing.info. From here, you can connect to us on social media, go to our website, and even go to the podcast to subscribe. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much. Keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, make your business succeed.